You are listening to the Hello Sport Podcast.
All right, well, we're back. Thursday pod, energy up, energy fucking raring to go. Everyone's well slept, well rested. No issues
No issues.
of the sleep variety.
That's
Eddie,
all right.
you're fresh off the back of Australian Boxing's Night of Nights.
Night of nights.
Tim Tszyu taking out Takeshi Inu.
Pumped him.
Pumped him.
Absolutely pumped him. Mate, it was a terrific night out at Kyrgios Bank.
Yeah.
Say this about Kyrgios Bank. When you get out there, not a bad place. Good venue.
That's like, yeah, I'm cool. But that's like many a thing though, right? It's like
Yeah.
the journey. You usually say the journey is actually the most valuable part of anything
Yep.
rather than the destination. When it comes to Kyrgios Bank, I'd disagree with that. I'd say that the journey, the worst part of it, the destination definitely.
The journey's awful, but you can do it in different ways. And I did it last night, probably the best way you can do it. Very
Stretch
lucky.
Hummer.
Shout out to Jeff Jones, friend of the show, good friend of Tim's. He short-balled Tim
Tim
and I.
is Daddy Dumbrell.
Daddy Dumbrell, for those that living under a rock, metaphorical or otherwise. He short-balled us a couple of tickets into the suite last night. He's head of Ticket Tech, Jeff. So
Oh, Jeff just is
So he's a dear friend.
A dear friend. All right. I'm gonna need to obviously befriend Jeff myself.
look, I'm now in club with Jeff.
Yeah, right. You're my in.
Me and Jeff are good pals. So now I'm going to bring you into the
You
fold.
bring me in.
Yeah. Have you heard of Tom? Of course you have. He's a friend of the show. Tom's a friend of mine. He's now a friend of yours. And now we're all friends. And I
Let's
see a big
just-
future for us.
We just go corporate box hopping.
I see a big future for us in the corporate box game, Tom.
Yeah.
The corporate box game suits me down to the ground.
To the ground,
I'll
dude.
say that, punters and dribblers. Down to the ground.
Yeah.
Parking is like basically next to the stadium. You walk in the back, like, up where all the fucking hullabaloo's happening, up in
Yeah.
the corporate box, bang. In there, some hors d'oeuvres. What do you want, sir? What are you drinking? Heineken's, bang, bang. It's all happening. Food's laid out. You get a full spread. They did like some sort of chicken, like a peri-peri sort of chicken. There's some cauliflower there. There was
yeah.
some mash. There was some beef.
5-star dining.
It was 5-star dining, Tom. Absolutely loved it. Seats were great. Up, out of the fucking the hullabaloo.
Yeah,
Hullabaloo's cool.
No, Hullabaloo's great, but
there's a
there's
time
also
and a place for hullabaloo.
I'd say there's like areas within the Hullabaloo that you want to be, and then there's areas of the Hullabaloo where a corporate box is going to be way better.
Correct. Like ringside and fur.
Ringside,
Different story.
First 3 or 4 rows
In fur,
in fur,
that can't be bested.
but other than
But
that, it's
outside of
corporate
wearing faux fur in the first 4 rows,
I'll be wearing Shetland pony.
you get up and you
Yeah.
get out of there.
Yeah. Can you hear the sounds of the punches?
Yes, it's like, I don't know if last night was an indication of what a lot of boxing nights are like. I haven't been to many, I'll be honest. But like the crowd comes in and out of it. So like
you could hear that in the
they're quite
later
silent
rounds of Tszyu's
for a
fight.
lot of it. Like and Tilly was fucking landing body blows and uppercuts and shit. Like that's when the woos start
Yeah,
coming
yeah,
and the
yeah.
yarns. There's a couple of chants going on, but it's like, it's certainly not a Conor McGregor fight.
No,
you know what
no,
I mean?
no,
In terms
no.
of atmospheres. So you could sort of hear it. But the view, like it's good.
It's good. Just,
I was a bit worried, like, is it going to be a bit far away?
yeah,
blah, blah.
yeah. You got
But it was
lights
sweet.
obscuring you or some shit, or like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
jumbotron.
yeah. Exactly.
Did you watch many of the warm-up fights? Or you
Yeah,
just
yeah,
shooting the shit?
I was shooting the shit and watching and shooting the shit
Yeah,
and
yeah,
watching.
yeah.
I tell you what, the step up in grade from even the main card fights to Takeshi and Tim was like monumental.
Yeah.
There was real plumber vibes going on last night.
Dude, it was Plumber Central. And that's, again, we always throw out the caveat, that's not a disrespect to plumbers.
Mate,
we
if
just know what they do
you're
for
on the
boxing.
fucking tools all day and then you go and fight at Kyrgios Bank in front of 10,500, hats off to you.
Hats off to you. And yeah, you're going to be a step slower than a professional fucking top-ranked, boxer in Tim Tszyu or fucking
Yeah, 100%.
Takeshi.
And like these blokes are flogging you to death, these plumbers.
Oh, yeah, these plumbers beat the fuck out of us.
No disrespect to the plumber. They're the heart and soul of the...
Well, it's like professional athlete. Just below professional athlete in Australia is the plumber.
100... Mate, they're semi-professional.
Yeah, they are.
The plumber.
Yeah.
Semi-professional. So full respect to them. But you can tell they're plumbers.
Yes.
Is my point.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely fine.
Sometimes the tattoos are a giveaway.
Yep. Well, really nice, elegant tats down the spine.
Straight down the spine.
You see a lot of that, Tom.
A spinal tat is often a good indicator of a plumber. Not always, but often. Tribal, when you don't seem to be from a tribal background.
Yes. I mean, you might have some tribal ties, but on the face
of course.
of it,
well, I'm not singling anyone out.
100%.
I'm saying that
But
there
on the face of it, don't look tribal.
No, don't look. Then, you know, those ones like that are just really like sharp, crisscrossy, weavy, like.
Yeah, those ones don't vibe with me.
They're not my favourite.
They're not my favourite.
But they are almost like a plumber's birthmark.
Well, the plumber's birth, that's exactly right. Plenty of plumbers' birthmarks there last night.
Yeah.
Shitloads
of them.
They were everywhere. Now, the crowd entertainment in between fights, pretty sure, like I'm 95% sure, was done by the guys who used to do Fat Pizza.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I would bet my fucking sack that that's correct.
Yeah.
Like
so what?
Rob and Tahir or something.
Yeah. What were they doing?
Flex cam. So like going around to the crowd and like fucking people flexing, like people getting their six packs out and shit. It was.
That's because they've got six packs. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
So people with six packs spend their life working for that, and that's their
100%.
opportunity to show it off because they're not professional athletes.
Yeah,
they're just professional six packs.
100%. And then, you know, other people are fucking up there and giving it to her.
Roid Central.
They went up to an elderly gentleman who I'm pretty confident English was his second language, and he just wasn't getting it. And so they're like, flex, and he's like, what?
What
and
the
like,
fuck
am
do you
I
want me
getting
to do?
filmed? And he's seen himself on the TV. He's like, what the fuck is going on? He probably can't read Flex TV.
He's like, why am I doing? Who am I? I'm just here to watch some biffs.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, like so confusing. But they just lingered on him for quite a while, which was hilarious.
Listen, you adapt or die, bruh.
We're also treated to an engagement, a proposal.
That was beautiful. The cunt almost looked like he'd lost the ring.
Mate, I was like, he doesn't know where it is. He was fumbling around for it for... I sent you the video. I'd come late to the fumble as well.
Yeah.
He'd been fumbling for 30 seconds before that.
The thing that I found it peculiar was the place that he decided to store the ring in the top pocket of a jacket, which notoriously deep, and also like trying to, if you're watching or if you're just listening, but like trying to reach up, you got to get your elbow above your head to reach down into the pocket that's already high.
Also, you've got to go really high with the elbow, like you say, just to get down into it.
Yeah.
The alternative is to go the other hand, but you run into trouble.
Trying to go backwards, but also what you can
Because
do is maybe try and...
Look what happens with my hand on YouTube. It goes across my body. I can't get it to go straight down.
No, so you're hitting the sides of the pocket. You could also squeeze from the bottom of the pocket and squeeze the ring box up to the top.
That's right, but he didn't know where it was.
He didn't fucking know. You need to have it in the side pockets.
I think you go try it and test it.
Yeah, side pockets with a button up or a zip up sort of pouch.
I don't think you need to go clever with the proposal, especially at Boxing's Night of Nights, under the pump, 10,500 eyeballs on you. You know, the expectation that was palpable in the room.
Mate, you could see it. And then when he couldn't find the ring, everyone's like, oh no.
And it was, I tell you what, punters and dribblers, 30 seconds of not being able to find the ring is an age.
Yeah. Felt like an eternity.
In the proposal game.
You basically you could fit a whole other relationship inside that 30 seconds.
Comfortably. There's plenty of relationships that have lasted less time than it took for him to find that ring. Comfortably.
But it was beautiful though.
But he look, at the end of the day, he got the job done. It was emotional. There was tears. There was some kissing. It was lovely stuff.
Don't you think when you see shit like that, and you and I both now ticked the proposal off the to-do list?
Yes, thank God.
Thank Christ. When you see some motherfucker...
It's not something you like. I wouldn't sign up to fucking do
them regularly.
Proposals regularly.
I'll tell you what I wouldn't sign up to. Doing one at fucking the bank, Kudos Bank, at Australian Boxing's Night of Nights with 10,000 yipping yahoos.
You fall into two distinct camps, in my opinion. Either you aren't about a public proposal or you are. But then if you are in that camp, there's levels to it.
Yeah.
Are you a restaurant proposal guy? Are you like a fucking crowded beach proposal guy?
Yeah.
Are you an NBA guy?
Kudos
like
Bank.
Kudos Bank, well, Boxing's Night of Nights. That's
Yeah.
sort of near the top, I think.
Yeah, well, absolutely it is.
Because the other thing is you've got to set it up. You've got to get on the
Call
blower
on-
to whoever the fuck. I don't even know how you do that.
Whether you do it on the blower to the bank or whether you're on the blower to the No Limit boys, the Rose boys.
I think you're probably on the blower to the No Limit boys. Listen, I got a proposal in the works. Can you help me?
And obviously we got mates now at Big Ticket Tech,
Yeah.
but I think we
In
also...
big ticket.
Big tickets. We probably need to also get him with No Limit Boxing. George Rose a friend, Manly fan. We're Manly fans. Well, he's a Manly player. Sorry, we're Manly fans. There's a lot of synergy there between us and No Limit, and I just see fucking the YKTR boys in the media area. I'm like, we need that too. I
think it's good.
I felt left out.
Well, I think it's good to play both sides.
Well, we're in big ticket.
Yeah, we're in big corporate.
But we're also fucking down there cage side.
But we can play both roles.
Yeah.
Like, am I in the mood to be cage side today? Maybe not. Maybe
we're versatile.
Versatile. You gotta be versatile in this game, punters and dribblers. That's all we're saying. Tom, I'll ask you this. If you were to be sitting, at Kyrgios Bank with your lovely lady, you and Steph, maybe you're out for a nice romantic night at the boxing.
Yeah.
Kiss cam gets to you. What are you planting on her?
Look, I think if the kiss cam comes to you, no, I don't want to do it.
You have to, though.
But duty calls. You have to do it.
Yeah.
I'd just be giving her a nice little... I wouldn't give her a peck because then you look like a pussy.
Yep.
But I'm not about to jam the tongue down the throat because then you look like a fucking sick freak who doesn't understand the sort of social cues. Like, I'm not going to make out with her.
See, that was my thinking. I think you go in for something with a bit of passion, but you can't go over the top.
No.
I saw a lot of tongue last night.
Dude, it's just too much.
I saw a lot of tongue.
That's even like weddings. You may now kiss the bride. When they start macking, I'm like, cuz, we don't need this at the wedding. Like,
I don't know. I just, look, there's a time and a place for tongue.
Fuck yeah. The bedroom.
Yeah.
If you don't use, the tongue shouldn't be around.
Well, I mean, look.
Well, not just the bedroom.
Not just the bedroom.
Nightclub, fucking,
not in public.
Well, if you're fucking wasted, if it's like you're hooking up with a chick at a bar.
You know what I mean.
Yes.
Obviously, a bar setting's different.
Yeah.
I'm talking about ringside at the boxing.
Yeah. If it's just if they're like your girlfriend now or your wife, like, or your boyfriend and husband, like significant other, there's no need for public fucking tonguing unless you two are like, I can't even really think of a good reason unless you're out fucking pounding pingers and having a good time. That's probably the only way I could think that that's like a reasonable. Otherwise, it's for sexy times.
Well, it leads to something.
Yes.
Like you don't lean in for it and give them a good tonguing if you don't want it to go somewhere.
If it's not progressing.
Yeah.
No.
Like that's entry to.
Yeah, that is. That's the gateway.
Get me to the promised land.
Correct.
You don't just morning.
If the tongue comes out, it's it's an indicator of things to come.
Yeah, no, it is one of the great indicators.
Yes.
Possibly of all time.
No, you go, oh, okay, there's tongue in that, we're on.
Yeah. Also, like maybe you're unsure about what's going to go on. If the tongue's in there, bang, it signals intention straight out of the gates. Yeah. Like if you wake up, you're a bit tired, you're in the kitchen, maybe a bit of a morning peck, g'day. You're not going to just keep dropping the tongue in there.
No, you're not.
See you, honey. Have a good day at work. Bang. Like that's not how it goes.
No.
If you do that, credit to you. But
look, that's cool. If you're either fucking 1 week into a new relationship and things are still very fucking steamy.
Yeah.
Or you're just a bit of a fucking big day. But each to their own.
Each to their own.
I will say though, if kiss cam comes, it's a sort of a kiss. You know what I mean? Just like a, how you going?
But not a peck.
But peck's weak.
Peck's weak.
It's just got to be lips pressed for an extended amount of time. No, show this passion. Show that you're not related.
Also, make your claim.
That's it. Like,
she's with me.
She's with me. She's not, like a fucking relative. Not a cousin.
I will say this as well. I need to be honest with the punter and the dribbler. I always am. I missed the knockdown of Takeshi in the 12th round.
He slipped, dude.
Whatever. I missed it. See, I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah. Because
a fight had erupted in in the stands.
Oh, you see, this is...
And if an authentic fight, like not to say there wasn't authentic, but it's orchestrated. It's a prize fight.
It's a planned fight.
It's planned. Off the cuff, impromptu, rogue shit, biffs in the crowd will always draw the eyeball of the punter and the dribbler.
Dude.
There is no one can tell me otherwise. I've heard once someone say, Michael Jordan, LeBron James could be playing one-on-one basketball, and if there was a fight in the crowd, everyone would watch it. So people said to me, "Oh, that's bullshit." I'd watch LeBron. I'm like, "No, you wouldn't, you fucking liar. You'd watch the rogue brawl."
Dude, you definitely watch a rogue biff. You could have Ali, Foreman,
doesn't matter who it is,
Rumble in the Jungle or whatever the fuck that was. You see two dead shit start throwing in the aisles.
Yeah.
Not connecting at all.
Doesn't matter.
I'm in.
Yeah, I'm in big time.
Been in this shit. Get a spotlight on these
100%. So the boys are throwing. Everyone's loving it. I missed the slip / semi-knockdown, whatever. But then this bloke's obviously like, I don't know if he said something or he's about something, or maybe he just turns out he's a motherfucker. But the other guy turns on heel and sprints.
Oh, really?
Sideways along the aisle, then down the steps, and then like jumps the railing to fucking like down onto like ground level. And this big fucker's like chasing him and then jumps the fence too, like bang, clean leap over the fence.
Really?
And then piles onto him, but then the coppers like come out of nowhere. There's like 30 cops, bang, like that.
There would need to be like, you know how they said like, oh, where was it? I can't remember. But basically just like those places where, you know, you go, oh, the police presence is massive. Yep. I'd say at an Australian boxing's night of nights, that would be the greatest police presence at any one point on the planet.
At Australian boxing
At an Australian boxing's night of nights, because it's going to be Biff Central. If there aren't cops there ready to fucking, you know.
Oh, but the boys will throw anyway.
They'll throw it anyway, but that's why you need to have fucking like basically more cops than people.
Because otherwise it's on for young and old.
Yeah. Otherwise you end up just having a fucking 10,000 people brawl.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So that was good stuff.
That's fucking great stuff. You love that.
One of the highlights of the evening.
I saw
Not
on,
to detract from the great evening.
No,
just
but
saying,
I mean, you see a couple of people throwing in the crowd. That's worth the fucking price of admission.
100%. Especially if you didn't have to pay. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Shout out to Big
Now
T.
I'm well ahead.
Yeah,
now I'm well ahead.
You're up.
Now I'm up.
You're up. You're up plenty. I will say this, back to the fact that Takeshi slipped or knocked down. It wasn't a knockdown. It seemed like a slip. I completely understand the need for sponsors of events like this and for sponsors to get their fucking thing on the rings, whatever. But like when it becomes a detriment to the people, to the main reason you're there, that becomes a problem. There were cunts slipping in every fight that I watched. I think I watched the final three.
They all slipped.
They all slipped. Zeus slipped. Fucking Inu slipped.
Are you saying that it was the sponsorship stuff on the ring?
Bro, they were slipping on Palmerbet every single fucking time.
Yeah.
And no, it's not Palmerbet's fault, but like surely there's a way to do it where it's not like a fucking ice skating rink while these guys are trying to beat the fuck out of each other.
Of course there is. It's like with like T-shirts. You can either print it on top or you can print it in.
You need to bake it into the fucking canvas.
You need to bake it into the canvas. You need to bake that shit in.
Yeah.
Like if you're going stingy on canvas and you want to just keep reusing it, rip up the sticker, go again, that's not going to work for anyone. That's not going to work. You can have someone do an ACL in the middle of a fucking fight. Bit of sweat on there, mate.
Bro, they were sweating their dicks off.
But the rounds are 3 minutes. Even if the boys get out there and work hard with the towels, and they were working hard.
Fuck, I hope they were.
They were working their dicks off with the towels because I'd seen a lot of slipping. Tim and I were very concerned. I said, the boys aren't out there working the towels. I ran an eye room in between rounds. They were working. So I can't take away from the towel work. I just think that in 2.5 minutes into a 3-minute round, there's going to be a shitload of sweat on the fucking Palmerbet sticker.
Yeah,
there is.
And I mean, there were other ones as well, but the Palmerbet just seemed to be the biggest one.
Well, it was a presence. JD Sports, I think, as well.
Oh, they also because I was obviously watching it at home, didn't get the big ticket bait yet, but I was watching it at home in the broadcast, and they'd cut to Palmerbet's like Joel Kane version, and it was someone who couldn't speak English, wasn't their first language, doing the Palmerbet thing. I was like, seems weird. It was like a fucking South American chick. And I heard it come on, and I was like...
Broken English?
Sort of. Like, it wasn't broken English, but it was enough for me to be like,
Was it supposed to be hot? Like, what was the...
Yeah, she was pretty, but like, it wasn't like she was dressed in a fucking bikini. It wasn't like, oh,
no,
let's
but
get
I mean,
some
like,
sexy chick.
the chick off Modern Family sort of...
Sofia Vergara.
Yeah. Was it that sort of angle?
I don't think so. Like, because that was more like your ring girl sort of shit, right? Like, she was just a chick who works at the business, I'm assuming. She was in like a shirt. None of it was like salacious. It was just, this seems like an odd choice. It was just, it caught my attention. Maybe it was a good fucking choice. I don't know. Anyway, need to bake sponsors into the canvas though, because that was
Have to bake.
ridiculous.
Have to bake. That's what we're saying. Need to bake. Have to bake.
I've got a question.
Must bake.
Well, actually, before I ask this question, let's go back to the sort of pomp and pageantry of the evening. a big shout out's got to go to Uncle Alan for the welcome to country.
The biggest shout out that we can possibly provide on
the
this
best
show
welcome to country
has to go to Uncle Alan. He stole the show, and he kept going. And the longer he went, the better he got.
I was at some point going like, oh, dude, this guy's really getting into his welcome to country. Then it was like he went, because he started off funny, which was really good. Then he got into some of the more like ceremonial or like the specifics of what he was doing, which is welcoming people, then back to funny. And as he was going on again, I was like, oh shit, Alan's really fucking going for it here. Hope he doesn't fuck it up. And he just brought it home stronger and stronger and stronger. And the whole crowd went fucking nuts.
Mate,
like
the people loved it.
It was great.
Uncle Alan had the punter and dribbler eating out of his fucking hand.
Yeah.
Like, if he doesn't get every gig in that region of,
Where were they?
on that land.
Yeah.
So like Homebush, if he doesn't do every event at Homebush, I'm not here.
Yeah.
Because he was terrific.
He was fucking phenomenal. And he was just, what was nice about it, and obviously the Welcome to Country is great, but I guess with the Welcome to Country, it can become a bit procedural, right? Where like a lot of the time it's not very long. They just say, they say the welcome, they give you Eeyore Nation, I think it was, where they were yesterday. And, they give you a bit of a background. But he was like, he gave great insight where it was like the rivers from this river here to this river here.
Nepean,
and then, and
Hawkesbury.
and we're in the middle there and there's 20 clans of us in here and, all that's going on. And then just like, what was the line he finished off where it was like,
He's like,
what they
Hawkesbury
say?
to the east.
No, but
like,
then he goes, he finished
shit.
it with like, I'll leave you with this that we say, I think it was like in Aboriginal like culture or the indigenous sort of, we say this and we just want to pass it on to you. And it's like, where there's a will, there's a whole bunch of family members rocking up who want to like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was something to that effect.
It was something like that. And sorry, Uncle Alan, for butchering your fucking joke, but the whole thing was just like, I liked that it made it like the Welcome to Country more of a thing than just like, all right, come out, say this shit and then be done with it.
Oh, mate, it was like emotive.
Yeah.
And
everyone was into it. I was like, this is the best fucking Welcome to Country I've ever heard. So shout out to Uncle Alan.
Big shout out to
Big
Uncle
shout
Alan.
out to Uncle Alan. The next guy I wanted to shout out was Lieutenant Dan. Are you aware of, were you aware of who Lieutenant Dan was, or is that just if you're watching the broadcast?
I don't know who Lieutenant Dan is.
Lieutenant Dan is the aging American ring announcer who just was giving it his all night.
The bloke in the ring.
Yeah. Who's throwing the cards up in the air and shit.
Yeah.
Lieutenant
I didn't
Dan.
know that. I didn't know that. I couldn't. He wasn't facing. He was like back to me.
Okay.
But
I mean, you heard him getting into his work, though, didn't you?
yeah, bro. I couldn't miss it.
He was getting into his work, throwing his cards everywhere. Like you got to respect the ring announcer who's just trying to find how do I fit into the fucking pre-fight hype Bruce Buffer world, Michael Buffer, Bruce Buffer. Like, who am I? What do I bring?
Yeah.
I'm the card
I'm not
thrower.
a buffer. What's my thing?
I throw cards.
I throw cards. I'll say this about Lieutenant Dan, and I think this rings true in the world of ring announcing, is fundamentally, at its very core, if your voice isn't elite, you're in the wrong game. Like, I don't give a fuck how much energy you bring, if you've got a million catchphrases, if you're a card thrower. None of that shit matters if you don't have one of the great voices all time. It's as simple as that.
It's basically like if you were to go to a dwarf or a little person, I don't know what the preferred nomenclature is, and this little person wanted to play NBA. You just go, sorry, dude, look, you could dribble your fucking dick off, but, you're 4 foot.
It's not going to work.
It's just not going to happen.
No.
It's not in the cards for you.
Which is fine.
Bro,
But
that's
it is
fine.
what it is.
I mean, I don't think that I'm breaking any news to little people. I think they get that. But I don't know whether the ring announcer with a bad voice, not saying that about Lieutenant Dan, just saying in general, if you're a ring announcer who can't announce,
You're in the wrong game.
you're in the wrong game.
Simple as that.
Now, back to the Biff. Tim Tszyu what was crazy was, because I guess with Australian boxing, I don't know how to non-biasedly view someone like Tim Tszyu in comparison to the world stage, where like in the UFC, I watch fucking all the fights and I kind of have a better understanding of like where everyone is. at least in the top 10, say.
Well, because it's so much
much easier
more
to
clearly.
follow.
Well, it's so
Yeah.
much more clearly defined.
Yeah.
Like boxing is a fucking shit show
Yeah.
in that regard.
But so, like,
there's 4 champions in the
Four
same
different-
weight division.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
is so many more weight divisions in boxing than there is in the UFC, for example. There's like Australasian champions and Oceanic champions and fucking Southern Hemisphere champions and continental champions and all this shit. It's like, fuck me dead.
Yeah.
Then there is, when you break all of it down, there's only like 4 belts that really matter. And then within those 4 belts, there can, in some divisions, be 4 different champions.
Yeah. So Tim's number 1 contender for one of those belts. Then Inu was ranked 6th somewhere. And again, I don't know if that's in the same fucking IBO, WBO, whatever. Like, but he's ranked 6 in one. Tim's fucking 1 in one. Tim's obviously I don't know what he's ranked in the other ones. But I was like, I don't know how good Tim Tszyu is. You know what I mean? Like, I know he's good, but I don't know how good. Is he a world champ? Like, Kostya, to me, maybe because I was younger, but Kostya was a motherfucker. Like, Tim beat the piss out of Inu, and clearly you're going, oh, if Inu's 6, like, Tim, like, was clearly better.
Yeah, paying $1.05.
Inu could take a punch.
Fucking oath he could. Tough as nails.
I'm like, does Tim lack power, or has Inu got one of the fucking most ridiculous chins ever?
Well,
and like his body.
If
he
you
was
go
getting
back
pumped.
through, like, I think his last 5 or 6 fights, Tim stopped everyone except for this Inu bloke. Dave, you'll be able to confirm
But I've never
that.
seen him, and I'm sure he has, but like in the recent ones.
Well, he
I think
dropped Jeff Horn in like round.
he fucked up poor old
Early?
Jeff.
Jeff got pumped.
Yeah, Jeff got pumped. But I haven't seen him get KO anyone. Like,
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Dave will be able to come to us with the answers. He took a lot of punishment last night, this Inu bloke. Like a lot of punishment.
yeah, his face was fucked.
He
up.
got fucked up. He got well and truly fucked up. Maybe there's blokes out there that can take a punch, as you know.
Yes.
Some blokes can just take treatment.
Tim looked like he could take some punches. He looked like he had it because that Inu guy fucking cracked him with a couple. Like, he didn't look worried at any point.
No, mate. He was leaps and bounds a
Yeah.
better fighter, leaps and bounds. But where he ranks, like on the global scale, I don't know. Like you say, I don't follow boxing closely enough.
He's meant to be
to have an
have his
opinion.
next fight.
But
be a
he's
title
like,
fight.
he's a big deal though.
Yes.
Like,
I just,
he's thereabouts.
it's just like Jeff Horn was obviously Jeff beat Manny Pacquiao in a very improbable victory, but then went over and fought Terence Crawford and just got
and
fucking
got
pumped.
absolutely pumped.
And I think that, so like Terence Crawford might be, I don't know who the champion is. He's probably got one of the fucking many belts, but like I heard him say on the broadcast last night that Jeff Horn was like, oh, I reckon Tim could beat Terence or trouble him or whatever. But you just like, Jeff Horn was meant to be somewhat of an it, and then he went over there and just got fed. And so I'm just trying to, I don't know how good Tim Tszyu is or not.
I don't think he's fought anyone like.
No.
Do you know? So it's hard
Inu
to
would
say.
be the best fighter.
So
he's
it's hard
fought,
to say.
Yeah, it is. But that's what I mean. Just from like a boxing, novice standpoint, I'm like, he can't seem to knock this fucker down. But I'm like, is this guy just an absolute animal? Which I think may be more of the case than Tim not having, the power to KO someone.
His last 5 fights before this one were all TKOs.
Tim's?
Yeah.
What rounds?
Okay, well, there you go. I've just got fucking...
Yeah.
The last one before was the 6th round, then the 4th, then the 6th, then...
So just
the
stoppages.
6th. Yeah.
Yeah, which is still fucking like, I mean, I'm not complaining. I want to see
Stoppage
someone...
is a stoppage.
Yeah, I just am like, obviously, like to see someone get sparked.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. But we'll be keeping a very close eye on Tim. I'll watch all his fights now.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Oh yeah, I'm in the fucking watch all Tim's fights game.
100%.
Sure. Tell you what,
Well, he's our product now.
Yeah, he
he's
is.
our export to the world
He
in
is.
the boxing game.
Yeah.
Who else we got?
I think again, if we're trying to grease the wheels of the old No Limits, the Rose Boys, shout out to them, tag them if you see them. Maybe we get Tim on here, because what I did notice post fight, and I don't know if anyone else picked up on this, but up until last night, I always thought Tim was a young, well, he is these things, but like, he's young. Well, he's not even that young. He's 27, but like quiet, bit sort of shy,
No, he's
doesn't
got a bit
speak
about
too
him.
much. But the thing is, it's like if you're getting, the bigger you're getting, you want to get the bigger fights, you want to get the bigger paydays, you do have to start showing more personality, you do have to speak better, you do have to be a bit more fucking this, that, and the other. And I saw last night, like in his post-fight interview when he was in the ring, I was like, oh, okay. It seemed like he was trying to, or it seemed like he was more comfortable to step into that role a little bit more.
Well, you have to. You got to sell fights.
Well,
Otherwise
like
no one
Jeff
gives a
didn't,
shit.
right? Jeff wasn't good at that.
No, he wasn't.
Jeff was terrible at that.
He was terrible at it.
Jeff-
Mate, at the end of the day, you got to sell fights.
Yeah, Jeff-
especially in boxing.
devoid of charisma.
Especially in boxing, you got to sell fights
Yeah.
because you got to cut through the fucking clutter and wade through the bullshit and get the fight that you want made by talking shit.
Yes.
The UFC, it's different. They tell you to fucking fight largely.
So I think that we'd be really good for Tim
We'd be great for Tim. We'd be great for Tim.
to help him sort of, come out of his shell even more, relax, fucking.
Are you suggesting, Tom, that we take him under our collective wing and we
Mentor
teach
him
him
a
the
little bit.
fine and sacred art of dribbling and of yarning?
Yes, that's
Is
what
that
I'm
what you're
thinking.
suggesting?
I'm thinking we get Tim in.
I'd love to have Tim in.
We do the fucking coin catching thing with him.
Love to do that with Tim. I think he'd be a great teacher.
I think so too. He's also Kostra's boy,
Yeah.
which is nice. I wonder if he's getting sick of that. Surely you just got to.
Well, he's his own man now.
Yes, but I mean, you got to.
He's coming out of this. He's coming. Well, if he gets that belt, becomes world champion.
Yeah. Then he's.
Tim's out of the shadow.
Yeah, he's out. I'd love to see him fight in Moscow. Did you hear all that fucking yarn?
I did hear all
Costa's
that
trying to
against
get
the
him.
Argentinian bloke.
I have
Apparently,
no idea
Kosta's
who.
got fucking. He's in with Putin. And
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. Well, because he was Russia's first world champion post USSR.
So him and Putin.
Well,
they're
just
pals.
him in Russia is fucking. He's like a.
He lives there now.
Yeah,
but-
yeah. He's like the king, or he's a king. He used to have his own show on TV and all this sort of shit.
Hectic.
Like, yeah. What a fucking.
What a wild world. What a wild man.
Yeah. Kostya back in Russia. Aussie Kostya.
Aussie Kostya back in Russia. That's it. Love it.
But I don't think there's too much else in the boxing stakes. Is there already? Is there anything?
No, I think that's it, man. On we go.
Gallon Alloy, just before we go. Again, no limit. We need to go to that fight.
We need access.
Josh, you're a friend.
Mate, I'm telling you right now, that will, like, if you think last night was boxing's night of nights, Alloway Gallon will
Yeah.
be the night of nights.
Yeah.
Because it's two rugby league players going at it.
Going at it.
And that's what we love.
Yeah.
Rugby league, boxing and rugby league. It's a match made in heaven. We will be there, punters and dribblers. That I promise you.
One way or another, by hook or by crook. This just got sent to me, Eddie, and you may have seen it while you were in the toilet.
It was unbelievable. It's true.
It's sadly it might be. Now, obviously, everyone's seen these fucking screenshotted text messages that are doing the rounds about fucking. There was one about a premier of a state and a high-profile rugby league player, which was ridiculous.
People were like, I can't tell if people thought that was serious.
I know. There was one about Connor Watson and Kalen Ponga, which was fucking in the punters and dribblers, and then I think made it onto their podcast.
It did make it onto their podcast.
Which, we can't be held responsible for the dribbly bullshit of the punter and the dribbler, but it seemed like they took it in stride. But I think the yarn generally was that Connor tried to kiss Ponga. Ponga not into it.
Yeah, and then Ponga didn't reciprocate. And
Probably didn't use tongue.
yeah, that's right. And then Connor, heartbroken, moved clubs because he couldn't be around the man he loves all day.
Yeah. So those are those. We now have another one that's just come across our desk.
That's right. Are you going to read it out?
I'm going to read it out. Forgive me in advance, but Dave, you're incriminated here, so I'd be paying attention, bro. Boys, got some huge news out of the Hello Sport camp, and safe to say the boys are going to be in a fair bit of a dilemma. My missus works where Eddie's fiance gets her hair done and was venting about it the other day, as she's pretty off it. You know how Tom and Eddie have been giving Dior heaps more airtime in recent months, brackets, getting paid, running the dribbles, etc. Well, he was given access to their files as part of his job and found the video of the beep test. Tom and Eddie were heaps unfit and neither of them made it past 6. Beta stuff. Really embarrassing for them and could tarnish their rep, as that's why it wasn't released. Dior basically blackmailed them and said he would release the footage unless he has more of a role on the podcast. They gave in, but he's taken advantage of it and now calling it his own podcast, pushing in the lines at Beach Road. Plus, he's taking most of the proceeds from the Beer Soon shirts and sponsor money from Pilot. pretty hectic stuff. Dominating basically in a vice and have to do whatever Dior requests.
Jesus, how did he find all that out?
I don't know,
thought I was
dude.
safe.
Fucking loose lips Ella down the
Dude,
bloody hairdresser.
Ella at the hairdresser telling everyone what's going on.
My empire's come crumbling down.
Oh, fuck, that's good. That is funny.
Where did that come from?
Just fucking popped up in the...
Yeah, but I wonder where he got that from.
He's got a couple of mates who are fucking constantly putting in fucking memes and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's, look, it's not
That's as good
it's not
as it
too
gets.
far away from the truth.
No, it's not too far away from the truth. That we do still have the beep test is coming. That's all I can tell you. The beep test is coming. It's just around the corner.
They got to redo it and get a better score.
Well, no. Trust me. We all know my fucking score. It'll remain. But
Have you told the punter and dribbler your score?
maybe not. Let's not tell them because we are releasing the fucking thing soon. So we don't want to, we don't want to be doing that before our big reveal of the whole thing, you know? Just trying to see if it's in the punters and dribblers page yet, that fucking thing. No, it's not. So look, yeah, that's controversial, but it is true. Dave's got us under his thumb. And we were like, yeah, we could bash him, but then it's like, then what happens? Then he releases it and then we're fucked.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to cave in.
We could flush his head down the toilet.
What's that called? Dunk him.
Dunk him.
Yeah.
We could wedgie him.
We could wedge him. We could dunk him.
But then, you know.
I've got a safe thing going on that if you wedgie me or dunk me, an email gets sent out to everybody.
Yeah, he just hits a button and then...
He's got like a kill switch
Yeah,
on him.
exactly. Yeah.
It's a precious-
mutually assured destruction because we'll kill him if he does it, but we're then fucked. Our empire crumbles.
It's
That's
a
right.
pressure sensor in my undies and a wetness sensor in my head. That goes off.
That's so fucking dribbly. I
Yeah,
love it.
that's dribbly.
That is so dribbly.
I might even see if we can post that to the old IG. Where are we? What do we have?
We got the Chinese woman, the tennis player. We got William Tyrrell.
Go Chinese tennis player,
Kyrgios.
woman. Can we put it on the TV?
Yeah, or Kyrgios as well.
Well, it's all tennis chat.
Yeah, except for William Tyrrell, which is hectic. Well, do you want to give us a William Tyrrell update while Dave's getting the fucking...
So, punters and dribblers, if you're not up on the William Tyrrell saga, then I don't know what the fuck you've been doing. This one's fascinated me for a while because I was always so perplexed by the perceived bravenness of the crime because William Tyrrell, if you don't know the story, was with his foster parents, goes up to see his foster grandmas in Kendall, which is like the mid-north coast, I think. And they'd gone a day early, so no one knew that they were supposed to be there. So like if it couldn't be planned. And then they checked like the CCTV footage and they weren't followed up to Kendall. So it was implying that it was like an opportunistic crime. But this, like the house is at the end of a cul-de-sac. After that, there's really nowhere to go. It's like semi in the bush. Like there's no reason that a pedophile would just drive down the end of a cul-de-sac.
Well, there isn't an obvious reason why.
There isn't an obvious reason, right? Which is why I found it so perplexing. I'm like, how the fuck does this make sense? Obviously, you know, as the years go on, like the Jubilee guy, he got fired, he got sacked because he was
the criminal guy working.
he was the detective because he was trying to record a neighbour who he suspected because I think he was like, well, it's so improbable that it was an opportunistic crime. Maybe it was a neighbour, yada, yada, yada. He was trying to record him without permission. He got the sack. There's a scalp there. Bill Spedding, who was like the washing machine repair guy, he got dragged into it, basically accused of being a pedophile. He lost his business. He lost his home, all this shit. Like, he was fucking dragged through the mud. Never really recovered, the poor bastard.
Well, it's a hard thing to recover from, being falsely accused of being a fucking pedophile.
Exactly. But it's now coming out in the last couple of days that on really good evidence, supposedly. Allegedly. Just what's been reported, that they think he's now fallen from the balcony, which is like 2-3 meters up. The family, in a panic, maybe being like, fuck, he's died. We don't want to lose our other foster daughter, have covered it up. So they're going back now, going through like the foliage and shit underneath the balcony, looking for blood. They've just secured the grandma's old car, which they're now going through with a fine-tooth comb, and they're like they're searching the bushland around the home. And I'm like, if this is what's happened, they've come up with a fucking yarn that he got taken when he'd actually fallen off the balcony and died. That would be fucking wild.
Completely wild. I didn't realize that when you told me yesterday. You're like, have you been paying attention? I knew it was back in the headlines, but sometimes, because it's been 7 years, I think, and like it'd been there so often, like it's been brought up again so often, and obviously people are looking. I thought it was like another like, oh, we might have some intel. You know, sometimes like what is said in the media is actually sometimes more of a manipulation if they're trying to get someone to react or do something they might suspect. And I was sort of thinking like, oh, okay, they're just, because you hear like, oh, they're looking at the foliage under the fucking balcony like 7 years later. Like, and again, I don't understand what sort of forensic science they may use, but I'm like, if you're just asking me off the top of my dome, I'd be like, they are not going to find a fucking thing. Now, maybe they can. I don't know. Obviously, they wouldn't do it if it's impossible, but like...
Well, that's exactly right. They obviously feel like there's something there, but they're working off really good intelligence, and they keep saying that they're confident of putting this case to a resolution. So, like, I don't know what the fuck information they've got, but then on top of that, the daughter, who was probably, like, I think William was 3 at the time, she was maybe 5 or 6, has now been taken from their custody and has an AVO out against them, against the foster parents. So it's like, has she started remembering shit?
Or are they, you don't want to start speculating, but like, yeah, she's...
Well, I'm speculating based on what they're reporting.
No, I know. That of like, is she remembering shit? Are they maybe a bit more nefarious characters than one may have been led to believe early on?
But like, what's shocking to me is they've pieced together this lie and run with it.
They might have, allegedly.
If this is what's happening.
Yes.
But I'm only going off what they're saying. They're like, they're working on the hunch that he's fallen from the balcony. If that's the case, that's what's happened, right? They're sort of leaving you to fucking fill in the dots a little bit. Like, they're leading you onto this path.
Yes.
They're not going, well, maybe. They're going,
no, they're
this
going,
is
this
fucking
seems to
what
be
we
what
think
it
happened. Is crazy.
Yes.
That's one hell of a lie.
Well, that's, I guess, what liars do, though. Liars lie. Or, like, criminals lie.
Yes.
I'm fucked up.
They do. Anyway, like, I just wanted to get it off my chest because I've been following this thing for ages, and I'm just like, this has taken the fucking wildest turn.
Well, they always say, weren't we saying this a couple of podcasts ago on the Thursday pod, that when someone dies or goes missing, the percentage that it's someone you know is fucking massive. Is it like 60 or 70% or 75% of like...
I think it's even higher than that.
Yeah, it might even be higher, but it's like it's someone that you know who's done it. That's what makes that Cleo Smith one fucking wild. Didn't know him. And you want to talk about...
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily the case. It's coming out. There's other things at work, supposedly.
Ooh,
apparently that's bullshit. So they're like really holding back on the info.
Yeah.
But apparently there's like, internet sleuths digging up information.
Don't fuck with cats sort of vibes.
Yeah. They're sort of like, apparently, again, this is just internet sleuth, rumor and innuendo.
Yeah, look, this is probably not the right topic to be fucking being super...
well, it's more
internet
around
innuendo.
More around the idea that the family did know him.
Okay, so they were aware of him as opposed to it being like...
Very small town.
Yeah, right.
They knew each other. There might have been like some drug money owed. Ransom vibes. I don't know.
Yeah. Look,
we won't get into it.
No, we can't.
We can't. But to your point, though, the random snatch, statistically improbable.
Yeah, unlikely. Anyway, fucking hope they find out what happened to him because that's a fucked up story. Child abductions to the side. Now let's go to tennis players disappearing, Dave.
Still on disappearances.
Disappeared?
Yeah, okay, well, listen to this. It's a bit of a good yarn. Well, not if you're her. But about 2 weeks ago, this Chinese tennis player, her name's Peng Shuai, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, she has won a couple of doubles titles.
Yeah, she's a Wimbledon champ in the doubles game.
Yeah, in the doubles, yeah. And I think
Impressive.
French Open. She accused a former vice premier of China, so, big politician,
That takes some
of
cojones.
sexual assault. And about, pretty soon after that happened, about a day after that happened, all her social media posts and accounts were wiped from like Chinese social media. And basically, in the days since then, no one's seen or heard from her for about 10 days. And then this morning, there was a letter that was released, which was apparently written by her and was released through Chinese state media.
Oh, God.
Do you want me to read it here? It says, hello, everyone. This is Peng Shuai. Regarding the recent news released on the official website of the WTA, the content has not been confirmed or verified by myself, and it was released without my consent. The news in that release, including the allegation of sexual assault, is not true. I'm not missing, nor am I unsafe. I've just been resting at home and everything is fine. Thank you again for caring about me. If the WTA publishes any more news about me, please verify it with me and release it with my consent. As a professional tennis player, I thank you all for your companionship and consideration.
Oh my God.
I hope to promote Chinese tennis with you all if I have the chance in the future. I hope Chinese tennis will become better and better. Once again, thank you for your consideration.
It just reads like...
Hello, everyone. This is Peng Shuai.
Yeah.
Everything is fine.
Who the fuck... who A-okayed that?
Yeah. Why not just a video, Peng? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if we're really going to do it, like, why don't you just put up a video? Hey, sorry, big old fucking wall pool, I'm fine.
Send it to WA Chairman and CEO Steve Simon. Like, yeah, I need a video.
Mate, that is the most, like, I was thinking about this, like, with China, like, they're so intense, like, they seem to be very intense and shit like this happens, people go missing, but, like, their billionaires go missing. One of their billionaires,
Jack Ma.
Went missing.
Jack Ma?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
No, he's been found, surely.
Yeah, he's back now.
But he said some anti-government shit and disappeared. And they were like, where the fuck's Chinese billionaire Jack Ma gone? It was like, well, he did say some shit about the state and he just fucking...
And has he come back and is he backpedaled?
Yeah, I think he's come back and now it's like, he's shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
Shut the fuck up.
yeah.
There's also like an actress who disappeared. I don't know if she's ever been found, but she's like, there was one that was like a big sort of like a Marvel-esque, like sort of a crossover into Western movies sort of shit. She disappeared. But this sort of shit is like...
What did Jack Ma say? Just
Dave will find
anti-government
it.
stuff.
Yeah, I'm on the Jack Ma thing.
But like, have you got it?
Well, I know the Jack Ma thing had something to do with the fact like Alibaba was basically taking over the economy and China wanted to stop doing that.
Did he own Alibaba? Was that it?
Yeah.
He sold it
Yeah.
though.
Yeah. But he said something. Anyway, this is one of the great loads of shit I've ever seen. She's gone. She's missing.
Is this the worst wool pool of all time?
It's China. I think the Chinese are terrible at wool pool. Oh, we're not doing anything to the Uyghurs. Ah, she's not missing.
That Chinese don't get a wool pool.
They either don't get it or they're like,
Or they don't care for a wool pool.
We don't care.
Yeah, basically Jack Ma just criticized the Chinese economic system and the decisions by the government.
Yeah.
And went missing.
Yeah, for 3 months.
For 3 months?
Yep.
Oh my
Like, there's
God.
reports
Dude,
saying,
China's
like,
terrifying.
He was under house arrest or something. Yeah.
My God.
China's terrifying, bro.
That's fucking terrifying to me.
Did you see there was
But
something?
surely, like, I mean, if you know that that's how they operate, I wouldn't be saying that shit in China.
No, I'd be getting out of China and then saying.
Do you know what I mean? I'd be like, oh, I've got a tennis tournament, and like, you know, fucking give me a visa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
Help
then
me,
go,
help me.
I need help.
And then I'd be saying shit if I needed to be saying it. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be saying it in the country.
No.
Because even fucking high-profile Alibaba billionaire Jack Ma went missing.
Yeah.
Like, no one's off limits.
No.
Seemingly. Because he's got a big internet presence. Like, people know the fuck Jack Ma is.
Yeah. Jack disappeared.
I did not know that.
I'm just at home resting.
Hello, everyone. This is Peng Shuai. No, it's not. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
That is the weirdest opening to a sentence I've ever read.
It's the most Chinese wool pool opening to a sentence I've ever read.
Hello, it may as well say, hello, this is a Chinese wool pool. That's unbelievable. That's the worst I've ever read.
And like, she doesn't have a video. It's like, guys,
What, 1.2 billion people, that's the best they can
she
muster?
can't release a video if she's all good. That's what's crazy about the world, is these things just happening right in front of you and it being like, oh, okay.
Sure.
Sure. Oh, no, cool, sorry. Peng Shuai, who accused a fucking government official of sexually assaulting her.
There must be shitloads of these stories we're just not aware of people just
Especially in China.
getting backdoored.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, there would be. I mean, we better start locking our doors after even talking about it.
Lucky we don't live in China.
Dude, there was a thing when China and Hong Kong are having like their fucking shit going on at the moment. And then there was some Hong Kong, how would you say? They're not Hong Kongese, are they?
I think they are Hong Kong.
Right. But they were like protesting at Sydney Uni or something. And all these fucking Chinese people came and were like fucking them up. Like it was, they didn't even seem like they were uni students who were like, you know, oh, we're a uni campus, let's fucking have debates and opinions. It was like, oh, this seems like there's like fucking adults and shit here, like coming and pulling down their signs and smashing their fucking speakers. It was on like Four Corners maybe last year.
A lot of them are students as well, though.
Well, no, they definitely are students as well, but it's like, it almost just seems like they're all fucking spies in the country, and it's like, but it's funny to see how hectic they are in Australia. Like, they're not even in China, and they're fucking hectic. Like, it was intense. And these guys, like, they were like, the things I was saying, you're like, Jesus Christ. You can only imagine in China what it's like.
Well, I think it's more chilled in China because people don't speak out.
But I'm saying the ramifications of speaking out is far more like just absolute.
Yeah. It won't
can't
be,
really get away
it won't just be pulling your signs down.
No, you can't just
It's
bash
like,
people at Sydney.
you know,
You will get in trouble.
You'll be smuggled into a bag at 3 a.m.
Yeah. Later.
And taken fucking God knows where.
Yeah.
Dumped in a river. Who
Well,
knows?
they do. So, like, I mean, they do have. The yarn is that they have like prison camps for fucking Chinese Muslims, right? Like that's.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Like they know that that's the case.
They've called them like re-education camps, pretty much.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
And there's a lot of
But you have to go to.
It's hard to tell because there's so much on both sides. 'Cause you can never trust anything from Chinese state media because that's biased. But it's hard to trust anything from Western media either because they all hate China as well.
Yeah. You actually can't trust anything.
Yeah. Nothing.
Nothing.
Go there and look with your own eyes. That's the only
Yeah, go to fucking China if you.
Yeah.
But like even a friend of ours, I won't say just because I won't, but is a friend of ours who is in movies. And he was saying that, because he hasn't been, I don't think he's been, but you know, like the film industry, like China's fucking massive. So I don't even know whether it's him or whether it's another person that I'm thinking of, but like when you go to China, you have to get a Chinese phone. Like you have to have all these things. Like you aren't allowed your own phones over there. The internet, you don't have access to fucking. There's like all these things where it's like very different.
Do they have their own search engine?
Yes,
Yeah.
they do. Yeah.
Can you
They've
look
got,
up what it, like? Can you watch porn in China?
I'll Google that. I'm sure you can.
That's the question. That's the real question.
Yeah, they
That's
can
the
download.
real question.
You
We
can?
need to fucking.
Yeah.
Well, what
No, I
level
get
of
it.
censorship is
That
there?
sets a nice baseline.
Yeah, it does.
I think-
All
Hold
right,
on, no,
so
no,
we
no,
can
no.
watch
What-
porn.
what it
Now
says
let's see
here-
what else we can do.
But it's not the same. I don't think they can have access to all these sites because what it says is citizens can download pornography or watch online through cloud storage platforms. So everyone's just uploading videos into the cloud.
Oh,
And
so
it's
it's
like,
all
oh,
amateur.
what's
So
this
it's like torrenting porn and shit, or
Pretty
they're all
much,
just
yeah.
uploading.
What, like LimeWire days?
Kind
Hang
of, but
the
I feel
LimeWire
it's like
days.
if you go into a big like Google
Dropbox.
Drive or a Dropbox and there's lots of different thumbnails and you're like, which one am I going to go today?
Oh my god!
That's got to be a pain in the ass because I'm assuming they don't have the helpful like auto scroll through if you just hover your mouse over it, so you get a bit of like, okay, this is what I'm in for.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you'll click into one and you'll be like,
Oh yeah.
and you'll be like, oh, whoops,
yeah.
not
Like
my
a
persuasion.
preview.
Yeah. There's
Yes.
way too many dicks in this one for me.
Wow, in 2009, over 5,000 people were arrested for pornography in China.
So porn, not something that. Is,
Oh, so
no is the answer.
I think I'm hearing a no, Dave.
Well, it's
I'm
not
hearing
like,
it's possible, but you got
But-
to use like fucking.
yeah,
the
there's
cloud
no
storage
sanctioned
fucking-
sites. Like there's no, Pornhub or X videos. Which one do I want to go today? None of that.
None of that. Interesting. Well, there you go, punters and jewelers. If that doesn't paint a picture for you, nothing.
Turns out that it was a good question, Eddie.
It was a great question. See, I'm tapped in.
On the face of it, it was a bad question. Bit of research, bit of pulling back the leaves, the loose leaf litter. Great question.
Great question.
Um,
Well, that's fucking terrifying.
yeah. Yeah, it is terrifying.
Yeah.
China's terrifying.
Yeah.
In terms of, I find actually, not just China, shout out to China, I find all world powers.
Yeah, superpowers.
Superpowers fucking terrifying. I find the US terrifying. I find fucking China terrifying. Russia, like, it is just gassed up gang wars. It's just global gangs.
Yeah.
It's so and it's like the amount of money everyone's just spending on fucking weapons and warships and planes, and it's like, there's only one reason you do that. Like, it just seems like there's no, let's spend billions of dollars on fucking peace and being cool.
Yeah.
And then with the media where like everything's fucking, you don't know what to believe. You don't know what, like, the US, even with fucking Biden, there was one just recently when they were pulling out of Iraq and they did one more fucking hit of a terrorist. I may have even said this on this podcast, but they did one more like targeted thing on a terrorist. They fucking drone struck someone's house and they were like, yeah, we got him. Then it was like, oh, actually he wasn't there. We actually just killed like 12 kids and their family. That was all that was. But they didn't report it as that. They were like successful. And then everyone was like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
it's just that sort of shit where it's like, you look at any of these, like the superpower you align with, you know, Western culture, America, Australia, like it's more the one where you're sort of going, oh, well, they're the good guys. Like, Jesus Christ, bro, not really.
Yeah, I know. It's all, it depends what lens you're looking at it through. Do you know what I mean?
I often think that, like, you know, people can have a go at China or Russia or whatever. I don't think there's too much that they're doing that America
aren't doing the same things of. We just don't hear about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're like, you know, oh, but they've got these, you know, prison camps for, and it's like, well, what's Guantanamo Bay?
Yeah.
There were so many cunts that were in there.
They're still there.
Yeah.
Are they still there?
The mastermind of 9/11 is in Guantanamo Bay right now.
I don't see that that's the word. Like, if you're in there for a thing.
Well, yeah.
No, I'm just saying it's still operational.
I thought they were closing it.
Oh, every president.
I think they
except
say
Trump
that and they never do.
They never do it.
Mate, the fucking Guantanamo Bay was filled at the start with like farmers and shit.
What's gonna happen first? Guantanamo Bay gets closed, or we release the beep test video?
Touch and go, hard to say. I like to think the beep test video is going to come out before that. I'd love to think that.
I'd love to think so.
But I can't say with any authority.
No. So
I also won't be holding my breath because Tom's had 2 years to do it.
Well, 1 year. It's in the works.
It's a year and a half, I'd say.
Well, August was a year.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. So Guantanamo Bay's still open. I didn't know that. That's pretty intense. Like that Graham Hicks guy, Australian. Didn't he never do anything? Or was he over there being a scallywag? So I only just saw the photo of him like with a bazooka, and it was like, oh, it was an Australian terrorist.
Didn't he train with Al-Qaeda? Or was that bullshit?
I don't know. But he's back now in Australia, I'm pretty sure. He's just back fucking
Being Graham Hicks.
being Graham Hicks.
Yeah, but there's heaps. There's a
That'd be
good
a reality
film
show.
on like Amazon Prime.
Being Graham Hicks, just him getting around fucking
Eating his breakfast and
small town Adelaide or wherever he's from.
But yeah, there's this film on Amazon Prime called The Mauritanian, about this guy from Mauritania with Benedict Cumberbatch. And he basically gets put in Guantanamo Bay like just after 9/11, stays there for like 9 years, has this whole court case about like how he was never given a trial, wins the court case, then still gets held there for another 5 years after, even though like it's been proven that he was never given a fair trial and he's being illegally detained or something. They just always come with a thing like, oh no, these processes, and in the film you see all that. It's like they get these reports and the whole thing's redacted and they're trying to like, you know.
That's what, again, with you,
out.
where you think about like your Julian Assanges, where you're like, that motherfucker just like, you know, he just basically like leaked DMs, to put it very fucking primitively. But like, then he gets accused of rape, and then like now they want to extradite him to the
Sweden.
US. Yeah.
Which has a really like loose extradition. Like they basically, if there's an extradition request put in by the US, they'll grant it.
Yeah, right.
That's why Sweden was used as the country.
Yeah.
By which he was fucking. But I think they were pretty comfortable with him. Like, oh, well, if he's just going to spend his next 10 years in this tiny Ecuadorian embassy, then so be it. Like, I don't think they really cared.
Sneaking his seed into, you know, he managed to father a couple of kids in there, which was impressive.
I think he just got married or is about to get married in jail in the UK.
How often do you think Julian thought about escaping from there? Could it be done?
That would have been fucking monitored within an inch of its life.
Oh, you know, yeah, there are all these reports that like they had maintenance people coming in to fix shit, which were actually CIA people like surveilling them.
Yeah.
In the embassy. And there was a plot for America to kidnap and murder him. That like Trump's, the guy who was in charge of the FBI or CIA or whatever when Trump was in power, like floated that idea.
Oh my God.
Could
you imagine? They couldn't do that. Not to an Australian citizen. That would have been fucked
Bro,
up.
they could. We'd bend over. We'd fucking bend over. We'd be like, oh, well, whoops. Oh, no. You know, like, what's
That would be disgraceful
Dude,
if
like
we
they
bent
killed
over.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Epstein
Everyone
was
knew it, and now
fucking-
it's just like, oh well, like it just happened.
That's like you made to sound like a fucking conspiracy theorist whack job for thinking that Epstein didn't kill himself.
I don't
Or
think
that-
anyone thinks that.
But
Epstein had too many secrets.
so many secrets.
Starting with ex-president Bill Clinton and at the time President Donald Trump.
Yeah,
Like,
and
they're
fucking-
all down at Pedo Island getting
and
about.
bloody the Queen's son. Like every
I know, mate. That was fucking wild. I want to touch on that for a second.
that guy's a fucking idiot. You know what? I'm gonna do an interview. No,
Yeah.
I'd really advise
Yeah,
against it.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, I've got it.
Either he's a pedo or he's the dumbest bloke on the planet, right? They ask him point blank. Allegedly. They go to him, oi, you know how Jeffrey Epstein became like a convicted sex offender and he was prisoned for like 18 months and then he got out and he was on like, you know, sex watch lists and shit like that. He had a big dinner when he came out. Prince Andrew was the guest of honor, made a speech and shit. They're like, look at that situation, Andrew, and explain to me how that's playing eyes up footy, going to a fucking convicted pedophile or at the time convicted sex offenders coming out party where you're the guest of honor.
What do you say?
He's like, oh, well, I think it's a bit of a stretch to say I'm the guest of honor. It's like, you're a prince, bro. You're always the guest of honor.
You're always a guest of honor. Yeah.
You're never not the guest of honor.
You're not like the friend of a friend coming to a fucking
Unless you're going to the Queen's for a fee on Christmas Day, you're the guest of honor.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you talking about?
Also, I don't need to be the guest of honor to Nabra a pedo's invitation.
I know.
Well, it's not all about me. It's a pretty good fucking spread on apparently as well, so I might just roll in. Like, no, dude.
No.
No.
Oh, the chicken's supposed to be amazing.
No,
so
I
I'll be going.
really love the chicken. And I mean the photo where he's like, I don't remember that photo.
I know, but he's like, I love that he's trying to say that because I don't remember it, the photo isn't real. He's like, I might have been doctored. It's like, no. You're in the photo.
No. Also,
Which means it happened.
yeah, and you know what else it might mean if you don't remember it? Happened a few times, maybe. Maybe that's one of fucking plenty, and you just don't remember because you've done it. Or you're just fucking lying because why wouldn't you?
Whoever's told him to do that interview, like, either they were doing their job and they were like, don't fucking do it, or they're the dumbest fucking PR agency of all time.
And now he's been like retired from public life. They're like,
Of course he has.
but like that's also what's fucked is that there's like enough smoke around that whole thing, and he's just got to retire from public. Like, hey, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah, dude. But I don't think there's anything amiss with that.
No, it's
think
just
he's
more
lucky to
like
still
You are
be
too
alive with the
closely
royal
aligned with
family.
Jeffrey Epstein.
No, I'm saying that there's not something a little more substantial done about the guy closely aligned with
Oh,
Jerry.
right,
Just that they're
sorry.
going, oh yeah, no, you just shut the fuck up and hopefully this all blows over. Like that was also what was crazy when they did the like just the little tidbits of insights you get about the royal family when like Meghan Markle spoke. And now I'm not saying that everything she says is true, but like there are certain things that weren't even really disputed, but just like when you're in the royal family, you lose your passport, your driver's license, all these things. It's just all taken and held. And like, if you want to go do anything, you've got to like, you're almost like in a fucking bit of a cult, but like, it's like a business. And you've got to like
call it the
ask,
firm.
Yeah, you've got to ask people before you can do shit. And it just was like,
Queen doesn't need a passport.
Really? Why?
I don't think she doesn't need one to travel. Don't know why. Just doesn't. Just as an aside.
As an aside.
She just gets out a bit of money. and
You
she's
would
like,
feel fucking trapped.
Yeah, I get that. I understand all that. That's all fucking well and good. But you knew that going in.
I'm not saying that about her. I'm just saying in general. I'm saying if you're born into that shit.
Oh, fuck that. Couldn't think of anything worse.
Like, just having to go to all these events.
That's all they do. They
That's all they
shake
do.
hands
Yeah.
all day, every day. That's all they do. They open shit and they close shit. And
I
they
tell you
fucking
what, though, you'd
donate
want to
shit.
have your handshake dialed in. My God.
Yeah.
You'd want to have that thing fucking dialed
I
in.
tell you what you'd want to have absolutely dialed to within an inch of its life, your small talk.
That's
what
the
do I
most,
go to?
I think that's the most impressive thing about what
What
they
do
do.
I go to? What's my go-to here? Like he'd have probably what I don't know how many points off the top of my head he'd have absolutely nailed. Maybe 20 fucking things that he
When
can call
Ash
on.
Barty won Wimbledon last year or this year,
Yes, this year.
and then she's like walking up through like the fucking inside,
And they're the first she sees.
they're the first she sees, Prince William and Kate.
Yep.
And they just are bang straight into combos and asking about like, it's all small talk chit chat, which if it wasn't with the fucking Royals, you'd want to put a bullet in your head because it's so mundane. It was like, what time is it back home? And
Yes,
you're
I
like,
know. That's
Don't
like,
pretend you don't know that it's fucking the middle of the night.
You know what time it
You
is.
know what time it is. Again, though, I guess they're slaves to the small talk.
But they are slaves to the small talk, and that's what I'm saying. These are things that, like, okay, are you from the other side of the world? What's a go-to for me? Time. What time is it? What time is it? What time
How
is
about the weather?
As if it's important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's the art of the small talk. You actually are saying things
Without saying anything.
without saying anything at all, and that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
What can I say here which actually means nothing?
Just make it seem like we're fucking having a really great conversation, but I'm really asking you about
But no one's enjoying it.
No
surely.
one's- no.
Surely no one's enjoying
They
it.
must fucking hate it.
But
I think the
even
people
Ash,
getting.
you could Ash is like, oh, maybe she's like, oh, this is like,
I think it'd be a bit more novelty for Ash or for
for
anyone
sure.
in that situation.
But it's also like, I don't think she wanted to sit down and fucking pull up stump and start ripping and tearing.
no.
You
I'm
know
not
what
about
I mean?
to. No, let's not
Like,
fucking.
let's not make this go for a moment longer than
let's
it
not
needs
crack
to.
a bloke and fucking get down to it.
Exactly. Although maybe you'd get a bit further with that. Maybe
You might.
that's one way to get out of the fucking small talk bullshit.
Off from a beer.
Do you reckon they find it difficult to have proper conversations with people now?
Yes.
That they've just been like small talks.
Well,
to
you'd
within an
never
inch
be
of their
able
life?
to. I guess when you're that public, you wouldn't be able to open up to anyone. Like your circle would be small. That's what would I know you'd have mates and shit, but like from uni days or from school days, you would think they'd still have them to a degree. But like, you'd imagine that you're just fucking your best friend's like your bodyguard or some shit. You know what I mean?
Well, I wonder. Or do they just that like aristocratic sort of echelon of society? When the camera's away, do they just fucking loosen up?
Oh,
you know, like dukes and fucking dames and shit, whatever.
I'm sure they probably get a bit fucking buck wild. I'd say they probably get wilder than you think. Like Prince Harry, I think, was a bit of a fucking goer.
Yeah, I think he had a bit of go in him.
But, you know, I wonder, is it that stiff upper lip fucking aristocracy where they're not really going to start telling you about, like, mate, I've had a fucking tough day.
I feel like there's just nothing like in common for them to talk about with the common folk.
It'd be hard to fucking meet. That's why sport's so good.
That's why I'm saying.
Great level.
That's why I'm saying. You know, when they're with fellow aristocrats, maybe that's when the fucking you can ease up a bit.
My horses.
Yeah, my horse is
Not
fucking
running.
sick, or the peasants are annoying me today. You know
the
what I mean?
peasants are fucking throwing flowers at my doorstep and I'm sick of it. They're starting to smell. Fucking tripping over roses and shit every time I try and
Oh,
leave
the
house.
fucking peasants! They're doing my head in today.
Fucking doing my head in. Mate, they're just worshipping me. Oh, yeah. Nah, my face is on another mug. Fucking peasants.
Oh god, that's good. That's very good.
There is something funny about how much the Poms love the king and queen.
Love.
The pomp and pageantry around the family. Like when they have the new kid and the town crier's got to come out and stand outside the fucking hospital and like ring a bell dressed in like... Dressed like Captain Feathersword, essentially.
Yeah.
We've got a new child in the royal family. And everyone's like, yeah, it's fucking 2021 though, right? Like you dress like a fucking pirate. What's going on here? On the fourth day. Dude, are you Hook? Are you dressed as Hook right now? What are you doing?
Oh.
While fucking Will and Kate stand there and they just got to stand with his baby and wave. The poor lady's fucking squeezed out a kid like
I know,
6
she's
hours
like-
ago. And she's like, oh.
She's like dressed within an inch of her life.
Yeah,
like,
she's got
not
makeup
hair out of line. just-
Mate, like I remember every time we've had a fuck with Steph's had a baby, it's like the last thing she wants to do is see anyone, let alone
And she's in heels.
standing there in heels with a town crier blowing her head off, like fucking waving to the crowd and the media. Anyway.
It's crazy, mate. Like up until maybe 5 years ago, if there was a royal in the royal box at Wimbledon, you had to bow when you came out.
Really?
Yeah.
They've canned that now?
Yeah, I think either William got rid of it or the guy who's in charge, maybe one of the kings. I think the Queen's other son, not Pedo Andrew, one of the others,
Allegedly.
or her brother, whatever. No, she doesn't have a brother. It must be her son. He's the head of Wimbledon. And he scrapped it. He's like, it's a little.
Was he the one that came out when they
It's
were
a little bit outdated now.
Was he the
He's
one-
like old and leathery.
old as
as
shit?
fuck.
Yeah. He looks like Prince Charles if he was like left in an oven for like 10 minutes or something, just like where all the hair.
Yeah, just like overdone.
Exactly. He's crisped.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just looking up like weirdest royal family laws, and they've got a law or like a rule about specifically formulated dinner conversations. So, when they sit down for a royal dinner, you have to speak to the person on your right for the first course of the meal,
crazy.
and then to the person on your left for the second half. And it says because the person seated on the right of any royal family member is the guest of honor. And everyone follows the same convention for the flow of conversation. And once the queen is toasted, no one is allowed to speak. And then you have to follow the queen when you're eating. So like if
When she's done, you're done.
pretty much.
So you got to fucking get to work.
You got to get into
literally,
your work.
If the queen
If she's
stops,
not
you
hungry
stop.
that night, stiff shit.
Yeah.
She better fucking pour some shit around. Just push it around her plate for a little while.
But
Give me
she probably also gets her food first. So you're up against it. If you're
Surely
a
she's got
huge-
some manners though. She knows the fucking rules. You wait till everyone's served.
Only if it's hot.
That's also true. I did know that.
If it's
But they're her
cold,
fucking rules. Like,
no, only if it's cold. If it's hot, you get into your work because it's like, well, I'm not going to fucking wait for 50 people to be served. If it's cold, you wait. If it's hot, you get into it.
yes. But they're her
I
rules.
also heard that if the queen moves, if she's talking to the person on her right and then she goes to her left, you've got to do the same thing.
What, immediately we're talking
Yes.
and I go, sorry, I'm going to have to start talking to this fucking person. That is not conducive to fucking good conversation. That's like being forced into a fucking...
Well, I think we'll talk later.
Gonna have to put a pin in that. I know you were just opening up about, a fucking sick relative, but I now have to talk to this other potential pedophile over here.
I've always thought about it at dinner though, right? If the queen's talking to the person on the left and it goes all the way around the table, someone essentially doesn't talk to anyone.
Yeah, there must be like
Oh, no, they'd have to turn back. So one person would do the opposite.
would have to be doing both.
Would have to go right. If the queen goes left, it goes left all the way around the table to that person. Second to last goes left, and then last would have to go back.
Yeah, the last person just doesn't go anywhere. They're just like, well, this is all I've got. I'm optionless here. And then I got to wait for fucking Queenie to come back my way, and then I can go. But then I've got to... So I don't get...
No. They would do the counter of it. So they're the
pivot.
Yeah, they're the pivot. They're the pivot of the table.
Yeah. Because then the Queen would then turn to them.
They counter the queen.
The Queen and them just go...
Yep.
They're the flapping doors.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's the only way it could work.
That's the only way it can work. I'm glad we hashed that out.
Yeah, I'm glad
that
we
was
hashed
important.
That out. I didn't know that's like the most ridiculous fucking...
Apparently as well, the like hierarchy of curtsying is like fucking mind bending. So like if Kate's with William, everyone curtsies to her, but she curtsies to the Queen. If she's not with William, then she's got to curtsy to like his cousins and shit because she doesn't have power without him. Like
So like fucking William's her ticket to glory.
yes, and without her,
The curtsy
without
glory.
him, she's fucking no one.
She's no one.
Yeah,
Even though, what about when he becomes king?
she'll become queen.
She's
She
still
won't
a
become-
princess.
I don't think she'll become.
No, she's still a princess, I think, because it's like Prince Philip. But what I mean is, does
Does the dynamic then change?
is she now like, sorry, I'm
Is
top
she
of the
powerful on
yeah,
her own?
I'm top of the tree now, or do I still need to be around fucking William to get any goddamn respect in
I
this
don't know. It's a
family?
great question. I don't have the answers. But
And it's funny because like the whole like kings and queens such an archaic thing. For some reason, it even though like old English kings and queens is sort of how they were introduced to me as a young person, right? Like the idea of kings and queens. It seems like such a ridiculous backwards practice that is like not in step with Western sort of, I guess, just general like cultural progression. So you're like,
It's
oh,
not.
we're
It's a
moving
time-
forward, all
no,
this shit.
it's
And you're
a-
like, what the fuck are we still doing here? We're bowing to this motherfucker?
it's
What?
a time warp.
Big time. It's like, you know what? It's kind of like it's like the Western cultural equivalent of finding a fucking lost tribe in the Amazon. You're like, holy shit, they're still doing this?
And they sort of weirdly have more power than you think. Like they don't use it. But like, for example, the Governor General, who is the Queen's representative in the country, can fuck off the Prime Minister.
Yeah. Yeah. And doesn't the Prime Minister in...
The Prime Minister picks the Governor General.
But doesn't in England the Prime Minister have to notify the Queen of shit? Like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Queen's
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She's included in all this shit.
But apparently that's why they're like still a thing and they weren't beheaded and fucking killed like the Tsars and the French royal family and shit because they got in early on the transition of power.
So they were like,
oh,
you
we
guys...
see the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
Oi, what, like that democracy thing sounds pretty good.
Nah, but just so we can be a part of it, and like we obviously get money.
But like the Queen is aware that that's like, that was their ticket out of the fucking potential shit show that was going to, you know, unfold on them. So she doesn't get involved in politics.
No, she's like, just do whatever. But
She
it's
knows,
just like,
she knows not to.
yeah, I'm here for like, you consult me, sure, but I'm happy just to fucking sit on my throne and wear a fucking crown and potter about. She's old as shit, isn't
Dude,
she?
she's 95, I think.
Get it, girl. I wanted to get the ton. Send herself a fucking letter.
And fucking send it, she will.
Yeah, she better.
To Queenie.
Yeah.
You get it, girl.
Yeah, it's like a diary entry.
She's like adored.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting when old Charles gets
He's
in there.
He's the longest like serving fucking prince ever, like next in line. Like he could realistically die before her and it's not that weird.
Mate, I'm starting to not rule that out. The Queen goes and goes and goes and goes.
She's been a bit under the weather recently, I think. She was in hospital or some shit.
I reckon she's in great nick for her age.
Fuck yeah, she'd give a good cuddle. And I mean that because like there's nothing nicer than like when you got a cuddle from your grandma, from Nan. Nan's cuddles are just always like a nice, like, you know, they're not your parents who are disciplining you and shit. Grandparents are always like, yeah, you can get away with a bit more. I see Queenie as, she probably doesn't because it's a very stuffy fucking, you know, aristocracy sort of emotionalist family, it would seem. But I imagine if, you know, she warmed to you, she was out of her comfort zone a little bit. Let's say it was like we're all marooned on an island. That she'd come around and before you know it, she'd like fucking, she'd give you a cuddle.
And your best buds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's got the scones on.
Yeah. Give you a cuddle. That's all you want.
Yeah.
Cuddle from Nan.
Radio's on. There's a cat fucking purring
There's a
somewhere.
cat sitting on her lap probably.
Yeah.
Kettle's going off.
Kettle's going off. There's a pack of Tim Tams in the fridge
Yeah.
if you need them.
She's
Scones
probably,
are
she's
on
got
the
some
go.
weird like old school like grandma lollies where you're like, I'll pass, thank you.
Yeah. Love that you've offered.
Yeah.
But I'm good.
I'll go with the
thank you.
Tim Tams and the tea. Those boiled fucking whatever they are look like shit, taste like shit.
100%.
I get they're from a bygone era. I get that you're fucking pre-World War II, so
You're old school.
you're old as fuck. I'll allow you to have the boiled lollies. I'm going to fucking
Yeah.
sit over here with the
I'm
Tim
going to have a
Tams.
Tim Tam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can have a couple actually.
I'm going to have the whole thing.
Yeah.
I hope you've got 2 packets. Shout out to the Queen. Where are we?
Where are we?
I don't know. I don't even know how we got there. I don't know where we started.
You
I
know
don't
what? You know what?
It was Jeffrey Epstein was the connecting link.
That's how it
there.
always
But even
starts.
something was before that.
I think that I think sometimes
China.
China. Sometimes you just go, you know what? I don't even want to know how we got here. We did.
But I sometimes like working it out because it's so fucking strange.
Yeah.
They're meandering.
The meandering.
It's like sitting in a lilo floating down a river, punters and dribblers.
Well, you
That's
know
the
why it's
Thursday
not the
pod.
river? Because you know where the river's going. I'd say it's like you're just in the middle of the ocean and you don't actually know where the
Well, the
current's
tides are taking you.
Yeah, but you don't know where the currents are going.
No.
Before you know it, you're over here in China. Then whoops, the current's taking me over to fucking the palace. Whoop. Now I'm on a marooned island with the Queen eating boiled lollies or turning him down.
Turning them down.
Turning 'em
I'm not
down.
eating a single one. I've got Tim Tams on the go here.
Yeah.
Originals. Maybe some darks. Who cares?
Nah, not darks.
I like darks, dude. Darks are sick.
Dark's all right to break it up, but I'm not like originals cannot be bested in the whole fucking Tim Tam family. Like, let's not pretend, double stuffed caramel. Like, yeah, they're all good, but you're original. You can set your watch to it. You can fucking guarantee that it is what it is and that you're going to get what you're going to get.
A mate of mine who you know, you play cricket with him, he uses Tim Tams as a bribe when he goes to like those big conventions, like the big fucking, you know, those big conventions he goes to over in Europe. What are they called? Like sort of like
I play
supplier,
like sales shows,
I
like
play
sale-
cricket with them.
yeah, like sales shows,
trade shows.
trade shows.
Yeah.
Goes to trade shows, and that's how to get like the best spots and shit at the trade shows. He bribes people with
I
Tim
have
Tams.
no idea who that would be that
They
I play cricket with.
fucking braces, mate.
Barthy.
Yep.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, dude. Tim Tams are in demand globally.
Trades them.
Yeah. He takes another suitcase, he was telling me, a smaller one, obviously, full of Tim Tams.
I'm going to have to ask him. That's fucking mental.
It's a hell of a yarn.
That is a yarn.
But that's where they're at in the echelon of
Yeah,
great
yeah, that's-
biscuits
well,
in the world.
Gold bullion, Tim Tams.
That's where they're at.
Yeah.
They're number one globally.
After
Try
gold.
that on for size.
Are they like price of fucking gold, price of fucking whatever, price
Well, they
of Tim
should
Tams?
be. Well, I think if they're not doing that already, they should be.
Yeah. What's that called?
What?
Like what the term is?
Index.
Yeah, but the like
Tim Tam Index.
Tim Tam index. What is gold? It's a
Don't know. Lost me. Do we care?
No, not
Do we
really.
care?
I care. It's gonna fucking annoy me.
Do we
but
care?
No, we don't really
Okay.
care. Shout out to Tim Tams.
Like the gold standard or something?
No, just more about like what it is. It's a not a mineral. It's a fucking minerals couldn't be further from it.
We don't care. On we go.
Precious metal or some shit.
No. Fuck it.
Fuck it.
Is there something Kyrgios related, Dave? That
Yeah, there was a Kyrgios story which is confusing, which is how most of his stories go. So
respect.
on his podcast, he came out and said some stuff about the Australian Open, like wanting it to be cancelled because they're not letting people in who aren't vaccinated. So I'm trying to find the video, but I don't think anyone's cut it out from his podcast. But it says
he's got a new podcast called No Boundaries.
Yeah.
I believe it's called.
Yeah. He said it would not be morally right to let players who aren't vaccinated play at the Australian Open, and it would be morally wrong to force them to get vaccinated. And I think what he's trying to say is that they should and because he's gone on and said like, oh, because Melbourne's gone through such a tough year, you know, they deserve it to be good. So people were confused, and I think he was trying to say,
that's what he meant. I took it as he was saying, because they've gone through such a tough time, like, let's just not have the Australian Open. I'm like, that's the opposite of what they would want.
yeah, that is kind of what he said, which was why everyone was confused.
But it wasn't what he was meaning, right?
Yeah, so he came out and said, to clarify the comments, he said, to say I would want the Australian Open cancelled, I think that sentence got taken out of context. It's more so for the people of Melbourne who have gone through hell and back. I think it's been nearly 300 days of lockdown, blah, blah, blah. I don't think it's morally right to accept players from overseas that aren't vaccinated to come into our country.
I would say to that we've done our damnedest, I reckon, as a people, as a nation. Like, to get 92-ish, 3-ish, 4-ish% double vax, we've done as much as we can. It's time to move the fuck on. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion. We've done enough.
But like, if
we
you don't
can't do any more.
If people don't get vaxxed, sweet.
Mate,
Like fucking.
how long are you going to say? How long are you legitimately going to say to people, are you vaxxed or not? We've got to draw a line in the sand. I was under the impression that line in the sand in New South Wales was like December 15th. That was my impression. After that, I don't think it's talked about again. It shouldn't be.
No.
I'm not wearing a mask. You don't have to talk about vaccination, whatever. Like, if you got vaccinated, good for you. Proud of you. If you didn't want to, whatever. I'm not getting into it. But I think we just need to go, fucking let's move on.
But like, you can't fucking have something where it's like, I double vaxxed. You are like, but I am also not massive on fucking forcing people to get vaccinated. Like, I'm just like, if they don't want to do it, fuck it.
But my point is, it's such a small percentage of people now
That who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit? We don't need to.
No.
We've moved past it. We've done, like, that's what I mean by we've done all we can.
Yeah.
You say to them for 2 months, you can't do shit unless you're vaccinated, to push a couple of fucking
Stragglers.
fence setters over the line. But after that, if you haven't got vaccinated by the 15th of December, you're not getting vaccinated.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree on that. So fucking move on.
There's also the thing that I think, so if you've had it and recovered, then the antibodies you've got are like fucking much, much stronger than what you get from the vaccine on the whole. So a family member of mine got it, didn't even realize she just had antibodies when she got tested, and then was being told that to continue working she needed to get the vaccination. But then like she was like, but I actually am six times I think it is more protected than if I had the fucking vaccine. And just had to go through this whole rigmarole, speaking like epidemiologists and shit, I believe, to get to the point where the epidemiologist is like, actually not that healthy for you to be getting vaccinated as well on top of it. So like had to go through all this bullshit where I think now she can keep her job. But like that to me seems like not a logical thing either. Like if you have the antibodies, you're protected.
I think it was just I think it's probably more just a policy of like easier if you just fucking.
Yeah, it's like a logistics.
It's
thing.
just a logistics.
Yeah, but
That's
like,
just- that's just them being lazy as well.
but if you've got it,
No, I get.
you
I get
shouldn't
it.
be fucking losing your livelihood.
I get all that. I just think it was a blanket approach.
It's interesting. There's a bunch of like footy players and shit who are like, John Asiata says he'd prefer to be a fucking labourer than get it. I'm pretty sure. There's an AFL guy who retired instead of getting it. Nelson Asofa Solomona, I believe, he hasn't got it. Seems to be fucking massive in the Islander. Like, if you look at the list, it seemed like it was a shitload of the Islander boys. Not entirely sure if that's true or not, but that was the vibe just from glancing at the list.
There's a weird little bit of crossover. I remember when it happened with the whole Izzy Folau thing at the Waratahs, that a lot of them sided with him because a lot of those guys are that kind of like, I don't know if it's the Pentecostal Christian, but some sort of those like kind of right-wing
I
Christian
think it's Mormon.
denomination.
Might even be Mormonish, but I know what you mean. Like, they're all very heavily Christian.
Yeah, like on Instagram, like Nelson like posts a lot of like God stuff,
Yeah.
which is fine, and then posts a lot of like right-wing like God stuff, which is not that fine.
No, well, as in like anti-gay, right? Well, anti-gay isn't even right.
Not anti-gay, but things that fit into those kind of categories of what other right. Like there's this thing called Prager and like Turning Point USA, all these like just very like I don't know, very right-wing stuff. Who will say like he doesn't post the etch things about it, like where they have a go at gays, but he'll post other stuff about the vaccine.
Yeah, right.
And then the other videos on their pages of that thing.
Can you, Dave, while we're here getting nuts deep into religion, sport, politics, global geopolitics, is it true that Israel Folau, of Not a Big Thinker fame, is running for Queensland State Senate or something fucking ridiculous like that?
Alongside Clive Palmer.
Look,
Was that satire? Or was that real
I saw
life?
that on Fox Sports,
I managed
so it
to
could have been
miss this
satire.
somehow. Rumours. Controversial rugby union player Israel Folau is rumoured to be considering a tilt at politics.
The dude can barely fucking string a sentence together, a meaningful sentence.
No offense.
No, like it's just, politicians, like him or not, at least they can speak well.
Well, generally speaking, as a general rule of thumb, like you can't have it all, right? And you're one of the most gifted athletes to ever grace the earth, so it's not surprising that you're not a big talker.
No.
And the reality is, you're not a big talker.
No, you're not.
So I don't
Voice
know.
actually hard to listen to.
I don't know if politics is the best.
Well, it's just
route
it's
for
the same
you.
thing as the dwarf in the NBA or the
That's exactly right.
the guy with the bad
Sometimes
voice
it's
trying
not
to
on
be
the
an
cards
announcer.
for you. Like, wish him all the best. Have a crack. I don't think it's going to go well for you.
No.
That's what I'll say off the top. Don't think it'll go well. But all the best, Israel.
Yeah.
All the
I would actually love a tilt at politics for Folau though.
dude, because it'd be great content.
Yeah,
It's
content.
good for us. We're in a
Content
content
central.
game. Content be great. Great for us. Great for you. Great for the punter. Great for the dribbler.
Content Central.
But from a getting shit done perspective, the jury's out. Jury's out.
I don't imagine his policy is going to be anything to write home about.
Well, I don't even know what the fuck it. I
It'll be Clive Palmer's policy.
I know, but that's the thing. If like Israel trying to talk to that would be tough.
I don't
That'd be
think,
tough.
I
That'd be
don't
tough.
think it's going to work.
I'm not sure how serious this is, and Dave, you can just get this up for us, but our good friend Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, obviously he wants to be president as well, but there's another thing that he's throwing his hat in the ring for, at least that was the headline that I was sent, and the dribblers fucking pumped us with it, that he's putting his hat in the ring to be the new James Bond
Bullshit. Are you serious?
at 50-something years old, bald American.
Is he being legit with that?
Don't know. I'll tell you what, I want to watch his new movie, Red Notice. It was like the greatest opening on a fucking... It's a Dave's pulling faces there like, sorry, it's not fucking,
Dwayne Johnson has said
Motorcycle
that he wants
Diaries
to
or
be,
something fucking...
has said that he wants to be the next
Agnes
James.
Varda or Jean-Luc Godard.
Dwayne Johnson has said that he wants to be the next James Bond. The role of the super spy has been played for the last 15 years. I didn't realise it about that long.
I know.
Daniel Craig, who signed off from the franchise with its most recent release, No Time to Die. In an interview with Esquire, former WWE star Johnson said, "I would like to follow in Craig's footsteps and be the next Bond." Johnson also noted that his grandfather, Peter Maver, appeared in a villainous role in You Only Live Twice, the 5th James Bond movie. "My grandfather was a Bond villain. Very, very cool," he said.
There's something that always comes up when I'm reading stuff about Dwayne Johnson is that he always says like, oh, you know, he started off and he grew up really poor, which he might have. But then you hear stuff like his dad was a professional wrestler and then his grandpa here was a Bond
I don't
villain.
think
Like,
there was much money in the game back then, you know.
Different time.
Different time.
fair
But
enough.
just him fucking going, I don't want to be a villain. I want to be a Bond. I got to be Bond. Like, you know what? I think that Dwayne. So, look, if he's the next Bond, I'm fucking not here. But he could have definitely been a Bond villain in the 90s. And I don't think at any stage in history has he a shot at being the Bond. But he could have been a Bond villain in the 90s.
When he was coming up, he could have been a Bond villain.
Yeah.
I think for sure.
But now he's too
big. He's way too high profile now.
Like Daniel Craig wasn't massive when he became the Bond.
No. They like to go someone a little bit left of field, someone a little bit like known but not known.
So that you're not like married to their previous works of like
100%.
identifying like The Rock as
100%.
The Rock, and now
You're not
he's
going to
the Bond.
fucking shortboard Daniel bloody Redcliffe in there, are you?
No, exactly. Harry
Harry
Potter's now
Potter now
Bond.
James Bond. That doesn't make much sense.
Brad Pitt,
Like it might be someone like this Henry Cavill guy, like,
who I'm not even that into, but again,
but like he's like not that known.
no. I tell you what, I didn't even fucking like Daniel Craig when he first came into it.
Daniel grew on me.
Yeah, he grew on me. He was a
But-
grower, not a shower.
Yeah, but I tell you what, I think that the next Bond's going to be, you know, at the altar of the same fate, if that makes sense. Like I grew up with James Bond being Pierce Brosnan.
Yes.
So for me to shake Pierce from my soul, we're talking like
I had to mourn Pierce.
I had to mourn him.
Yeah.
I had to mourn him, and it took me 2 or 3 movies.
Yeah, it did.
To mourn Pierce.
And to now be like, and I'm only now like just fully on the Daniel Craig bandwagon, and now he's leaving us. It's taken me 15 years.
like you can't play 5, 6, 7 solid years of Goldeneye on 64 and expect me to fucking move on.
Yeah, just go, oh, sorry, it's Daniel Craig now. It's this blonde fucking English guy now, is it?
Well, it hasn't been, and it wasn't.
And now you just want me to
know,
change. But
so whoever the next one is, I think is going to be the same fate.
also, the only reason I would want The Rock to do it is because I'd love to hear his English accent, which would be atrocious.
Would he put one on?
Bro, James Bond is an English fucking spy.
So you'd have to.
You have to.
Did George Lazenby put on an accent? I
Good
think
question.
he might have.
Surely he did. If he didn't, that's why he was only in one.
I think also
No, he
back
was only
then,
in one
like,
because he turned it down.
Oh, really?
There's a fucking great documentary. I think it's on SBS, Punters and Dribblers, about George Lazenby and his life. It is so interesting. He was a male model, dude. He wasn't a fucking actor at all. He like hoodwinked people.
Can we
into
go
it.
young George Lazenby? I want to see Becoming Bond. Is that it?
Yeah, watch that. It's fucking good.
And I want to see what he looked like.
Becoming Bond is it's must watch. There he is.
That's such of like model of the times. Like that cunt wouldn't get a start in any modeling.
No,
magazine,
no,
do they?
fuck no.
Men were more male models back then were just more rugged though.
They were men.
They were rugged men, chest hair. They weren't all like
Yeah.
fucking jacked.
Yep.
Like it was again. Sorry to bring him up again, but fucking who's my boy in Red Sparrow?
Oh,
Joel Edgerton.
Yeah.
He is old school, leading man hot.
yes, correct. Whereas, so George Lazenby, right? He basically hoodwinked the producers and shit into saying that he's been fucking
Yes, that's a man. Look at that.
that
That's
he'd
a
been in
fucking
movies
man.
and shit, and he hadn't been. Ends up landing the James Bond gig. They, because he was a male model, right, were worried that he might be a homosexual, and so he said that when he was like up for the role, he got a knock on his door one night, and this guy showed up with this chick, and he paid like. It was like a sex worker when he was pumping her, and he stopped halfway through and was like, "Oh mate, like, do you want to join in?" Like, thought he wanted to have a fucking
So wait,
threesome.
George asked the other guy to join in.
Yeah, and the guy was like, "No, I'm just here to like just
Make sure that you're
not-"
straight.
Yeah, like by pumping this chick.
Jesus, God, it was a weird fucking time.
Isn't that weird?
Well, it's disgraceful, but the times were the times. It's
I
just
was
fucking
like, that
bizarre.
is, yeah, it's the times of the times. But anyway, after the movie, he like didn't like the fame and the role and shit, and like he was sort of like fought back against the convention. Like they wanted him to dress like James Bond and talk like James Bond and be James Bond in interviews
Outside
and
of
shit.
the- yeah, right.
And so he grew his hair and like went a bit hippie and shit, and then turned down like another 5-film deal, and you can tell that he regrets it. You can tell that he regrets it. But George Lazenby like had a fucking interesting life.
Did he have a career after Bond?
Not really.
George.
Anyway, watch that. Shout out to George Lazenby.
Just while we're here, go young Sean Connery. Because, I mean, just while we're talking about young, hot Bonds.
Sean Connery was a fucking dish.
Even, dude, you know what?
Look at him there, dude.
Dude.
Look at that. Look at the second one.
Down, no, one below, dude. Look at that shirtless. Look at that.
Yeah.
No, not there.
Not that
Jesus
one.
Christ, Dave. Look at that motherfucker.
That's a man.
That is a man. You know what, though? I'd go so far as to say that Pierce Brosnan, the last man Bond. Like Daniel Craig waxed
With an inch of
six-pack,
his life.
wearing hot pants and shit, getting out of the water.
I know.
Whereas Pierce Brosnan, hairy fuck, it should be a prerequisite that you got to have a fucking
150%. If you aren't rugged up, I don't think you should be Bond.
You've
There's an
gotta
old
have-
saying, Tom. A bird cannot nest in a tree with no leaves. It's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that. You want to see a Bond girl laying on a hairy chest, rubbing her hands through the fucking the scrub.
What I've got an issue with, like, if you don't have chest hair, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the seeming abandonment of the rug in favour of the wax job, because Daniel Craig is waxed within an inch of his life, and I'm like, why?
Or Veet Moosed.
Why don't we embrace the rug?
Yeah. What's wrong with the fucking chest hair?
Mate, the rug worked for fucking 200 years.
Well, it's kind of like going as well. It's like that was a hallmark of James Bond.
Yes.
Like
It worked.
It worked very well. Jesus Christ, he's good looking in that top one with the chick next to him. Just look at him just looking up. Like, look at his jawline and shit. Like, what are you doing? That's just undeniably attractive.
Who was the other Bond? The other famous one?
Roger Moore?
Roger Moore. Oh, am I thinking of Roger Moore? No, I'm not thinking of Roger Moore. I'm thinking of who was Marlon Brando. There's some story. No, he wasn't. But I don't know. I'm just thinking about this story about Marlon Brando.
Oh, yeah, there. Sorry. He's looking
Apparently, they filmed some movie in like Tahiti or Hawaii or something once, and it took like a year longer to film than they wanted it to, because Marlon would just like, he'd film for an hour and then he'd just go fucking have these wild orgies all day.
I think Marlon Brando, and by think, I'm pretty sure it's like almost well documented that he was like a fucking piglet.
Yeah, well, after he got really famous, I'm pretty sure he just went to live like on an island by himself and got really, really fat and just indulged himself until he died.
Dude, yeah. Old, like late in life, just about to die, Marlon Brando was not attractive. The final years, exactly. Over 140, type 2 diabetes, not surprised.
Wow.
Can we get some pics?
Can we get some pics of fat Brando? That's what you come here for, punters and dribblers.
Yeah. Holy
Marlon.
shit, dude.
Oh my. Oh, he just goes, I'm doing me now.
Yeah. I'm sick of being a sex symbol. He was hot to trot.
Oh yeah, Marlon was hot.
Dude, it's crazy how much he actually looks like the dude in Succession.
Marlon was hot.
Yeah, Marlon was hot. Marlon definitely left his looks at the door, though, on the way out.
Yeah, I'm done with these.
Yeah. I bet Marlon was just operating under the understanding that once he gets to heaven, it's back to fucking 22-year-old Marlon. Hopefully he's right.
Well, he was hoping for that.
Yeah, for his sake. What the fuck is that? What movie is this? Looks like Mrs. Doubtfire.
That's not him. That's not from
That's not
life,
late stage, is it?
That's in the island of Dr. Moreau from '96.
Right, so it's a movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's fucking weird as shit.
Yeah, it's not one I want to watch.
That us, Tom?
I think so. Shout out to Marlon Brando. That's us.
Bye-bye.
Could you two just not talk anymore?